Hello EFD squad and welcome back to Euro Roundup, where you pick our winners and losers from the weekend just past. Deputising as ever for Pato is Doogie Critchley, the best chest in the West, and that cut is healed nicely.
It has actually, it has. I think it's nearly done. I think it will be 4 or 5 more days and then we'll be back to normal.
Yeah.
Unlike Bayer Leverkusen though, who will take a while to get over their loss to Borussia Dortmund this weekend. They lost 3-2 at the Westfalen Stadion. This means that Dortmund maintain their 3-point lead at the top of the Bundesliga. It was a much-needed win, actually. We were talking about this game on Continental Club, and Dortmund's really poor form going into this. 3 consecutive draws saw their lead in the race really slip. They also lost out in the DFB Pokal. I think they got beaten on penalties by Werder Bremen, and obviously had that 3-0 hammering away at Spurs as well in the Champions League.
Put a bit of a German twang on that.
Hammering. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. And this game could have also gone against them. They only had 33% possession, 9 shots to Leverkusen's 13, and conceded 3 clear-cut chances. I was watching the highlights of this game this morning. It was a really entertaining game.
High-quality stuff on display.
Really good, really good. But Favre's side managed to get through that sort of dodgy period and open the scoring on 30 minutes with Zagadou netting from a Sancho corner. The Englishman now has 10 Bundesliga assists in 18-19, which is joint top with Joshua Kimmich. And it was crucial actually, because the visitors piled on pressure early. They had 5 shots to Dortmund's 1 and maintained 72% of possession for the first 25 minutes. Then Sancho, after assisting, got his goal, his 8th goal of the season, 8 minutes later, just seconds after Volland had equalised for the visitors with a really smart low finish. So yeah, a good result for Dortmund and a good day for Sancho.
Yeah, the finish was emphatic as well. Really well taken volley. And before you sort of, segued seamlessly into this game, Diego, I was going to ask you, how was your weekend, mate?
Oh, it was lovely, thank you.
Because you watched the rugby, didn't you? And are you more of a rugby fan than a football fan like Joe, or what?
No. I'd say I'm comfortably football, but rugby is my second sport.
Like to hear.
But yeah, no, it's disappointing for Scotland and England, but at least Sunderland won, so that was a small comfort. Yeah, what was your weekend though?
My weekend was one of disappointments.
Oh no.
So confusion on the football social. That's why I said all week I was going to be on the football social. We got there, one too many presenters. We had a Man United fan, we had an Arsenal fan, the Celtic fan had to go home, take an early bath. So if you're expecting to see me on that and didn't, then apologies, I'm not just barefaced lying to you. But back to the game in hand. Jadon Sancho was absolutely unreal in this game. Awesome. 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 dribble, which is, decisive, but lower than his normal amount. But 4 tackles as well, 100% success rate, nipping it off people's toes. Vital to breaking up Leverkusen's build-up play, and was just a constant menace throughout. A shout-out must go out to Mario Götze as well, who scored the winner on 60 minutes, his 4th goal of the season, quietly putting together a very productive campaign, is the 26-year-old, with 4 assists to his name as well. He's now contributing to a goal every 111 minutes. But the standout player yet again, and we got this bang wrong at the start of the season, Axel Witsel. He just continues to really, hold that side together. He's the glue, isn't he? He's the fulcrum at the moment. 9 tackles and interceptions, more than anyone else on the pitch, and 3 clearances, really shielding that inexperienced back 4 they lined up in a 4-2-3-1 in this game. It was also sound in possession as well, took 61 touches, losing the ball just once, and had a pass ac of 91%. So a metronome in that midfield is Axel Witsel, and making us look bloody silly.
Yeah, he's just got so much more to his game than I ever realised, really. He also dribbles with the ball really well. He can carry it from, carries it. He's surprisingly quick. Hold my hands up. I was definitely wrong on that one.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a chief in that side as well. A lot of youngsters, isn't there? So the defence, however, remains an issue despite its expert shielding from Witsel. They've now conceded 11 in 5 in all competitions, but some absolutely delightful build-up play from Leverkusen and 2 really well-taken goals. One was from a set-piece, Jonathan Tah, obviously towering sort of presence in the box. But the likes of Julian Brandt, Kai Havertz, they've got some really cultured players in that Leverkusen midfield.
As well.
And if I was sort of one of the top, 6 sides in the Premier League or one of the top 10 sides in Europe, there's definitely some talent in that side that you can go and purloin, isn't there? Purloin, what word? I don't know where that came from. However, their next trip should be more comfortable. That is BVB, because they've got Augsburg, who lost 5-1 to Freiburg at the weekend. So Bayern hot on their heels, but a little bit of respite maybe in their next game. Guys, Dortmund. We've been asking it all season. Have you changed your mind? Are you still backing them for the league title? I'm Team Bayern. He's Team Dortmund. Let us know what team you are in the comments below. Hashtag that baby.
Right, our first loser of the day is Sevilla. Slightly harsh, but we had to talk about this game, and this comes in from @Gopal Sharma 10.
That's my goat impression, by the way.
Was it? Nice.
Yeah, I wasn't just clearing my throat. What about you?
What, of my goat impression?
Yeah.
Wait,
that was so bad.
I can't think what noise do goats make.
No, that was just as bad.
There we go, much better.
Was that anyway? But back to the game in hand, because a Messi masterclass ensured that Barcelona ran out with all 3 points, even after going a goal down. His hat-trick overcoming the deficit that Mercado and Jesus Navas had racked up for the Andalusins. They, of course, went into the break 2-1 up at half-time. And the early La Liga pace setters, the home side, have been in terrible form of late.
You can say that again.
Probably what qualifies them as our losers. Not so much of this game. It's been that form since the turn of the year. Sevilla now sit outside the Champions League places after being leapfrogged by Getafe this weekend, having only won once since Christmas and 2 in their last 12 games, which is a stark comparison to how they started the season. And it's pretty hard to put your finger on what's gone wrong. They're still scoring goals. The defence has remained largely unchanged, and they haven't really received any noteworthy injuries. They even outperformed Barca in this game in terms of expected goals, 1.7 to 1.4, but expected goals, of course, does not take the genius of Lionel Messi into account. Despite having 4 less shots, they actually generated 13 to Barcelona's 17, but they were a better quality of opportunity as dictated by expected goals. In fact, according to the same metric, they should have scored 6 more than their 40 league goals, which would have propelled them, like we said, up to 3rd. So surely Machine's men got to find a solution pretty quickly, or that goal at the start of the season to get back into Champions League football, all that progress they made over the course of the first 15-20 games is going to, fall by the wayside.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe a change in tactics, maybe a change in setup needed, because they're conceding bucket loads of goals at the moment. But Barcelona haven't been great recently either. I think Messi's covering up a lot of deficiencies in that side, particularly defensively. He was, at his genius best on Saturday. It was actually his 50th career hat-trick. Started with an absolutely gorgeous volley into the top left-hand corner. He's now scored 36 goals in 35 games against Sevilla. They are his favourite opponent by a distance.
That's mental.
And the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner wasn't just, satisfied with, helping himself to goals. He also laid on a goal for Suarez as well, with a beautiful sort of chipped through ball. L1 triangle vibes. It was really, really nice. And all in all, Messi had 8 shots, 4 on target, 2 dribbles, 1 key pass, and 1 an aerial duel, as well as his hat-trick and an assist. He's now got 25 goals and 11 assists in La Liga. He's top of the Liga goal and assist charts, and both of those stats are the best in Europe's top 5 leagues, which is absolutely mental, but pretty unsurprising. The guy is not human. And Valverde also showed a bit of tactical flexibility despite being branded boring repeatedly. So they were overrun on the left flank a lot during the first half. He then brought on Sergio Roberto and Ousmane Dembele, which basically eased the pressure on Alba on the opposite side, and Barcelona basically attacked with more fluidity in the second half. So it was a nice tactical change from him. And this win means Barcelona maintain their 7-point lead at the top, and that, although on paper that looks great, and it is great, their defence has a lot of work to do. I think Piqué hasn't looked his best this year. And it's, the situation around Coutinho is just rumbling on, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive line for, I think it was Sevilla's second, was absolutely atrocious. But like you said, Valverde probably made some changes because Jordi Alba was getting doubled up on down that left-hand side. Coutinho, not the most willing defender, let's say, and not great for him that Barcelona looked a lot more active, reactive, much more impetus when Dembele came on. And I'm not sure how he forces his way back into this side, becomes a mainstay in this side, because it feels to me like a case of right player for the club in terms of his playing style, in terms of his match intelligence, but wrong system, maybe wrong manager to play under. And rumours were circulating that Manchester United were interested in lodging a £100 million bid, weren't they, in January? but I'm not sure how realistic that is, given that, you know, they're not set on their manager yet. They probably don't want to pay Coutinho's wages. I think he's become a victim, really, of the system, of how good he was in the first 6 months, and a lot of Barcelona fans seem to be running out of patience with him. So yeah, his future
definitely
cast into doubt a little bit. Not just in this game, of course, but he's been used ineffectively a few times on that left-hand side, hasn't he?
Well, he's sort of just, I think the best thing about Barcelona's attacking play is often the relationship between Alba and Messi, and Coutinho seems to almost get in the way at times, and just is not so. He's getting in the way of that fantastic understanding, and it's negatively affecting their play. But yeah, it will take upwards of 100 million, and I can't think of that many clubs. They won't take anything. They won't take any more than sort of a 20 million loss on him. So it will take about 120 million, I think.
And especially with Valverde not really going anywhere anytime soon, at least, you know, given that he signed the contract extension, that obviously means relatively little to the big clubs. We all know that, but to do that in January is a vote of confidence, isn't it? And he is providing continuity. That's one thing you have to say about Valverde. And if they do go deep in the Champions League, he probably, you know, and wins another league title, he'll probably start the season with relatively good form, or in a good place even.
It'll be a fascinating couple of weeks. They're obviously, you know, still in the Champions League, and they've got 2 El Clasicos, I believe, in the next 2 weeks. One in the Copa del Rey and one in the league. So massive games. But we want to hear from you guys. Who do you think is going to win those 2 clashes? Real Madrid or Barcelona? Vote in the poll above.
Final winner comes from Haris Besic, and it's Monaco. Let's shed some positive light on the Principality.
Yeah, 100%. What a result. 2-0 versus Lyon. They have now won 3 of their last 4 games, and they're now 5 points clear at the drop. So it's starting to look up now. Leo Hardim's back in control, and he will be delighted with the performance of Gelson Martins once again. Open the scoring. He now ensures he has a 100% record of a goal contribution every single start. 3 goals and 1 assist so far since his loan from Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, and he was poor at Atletico, so this is exactly what he needed. Well done, big man.
Yeah, definitely. And it also, shout out to Ronnie Lopez as well. Really industrious performance from him too. They made 8 tackles between them, matching the entire defence and midfield of Lyon. Subasic also needs a shout out. He prevented a sort of nerve-wracking end for Hardim, because made a good save from a Memphis Depay penalty in the 70th minute. Not a bad penalty, just a really good save. He's made 8 penalty saves since his league debut in 13-14. Only Benoit Costil has saved more, so well done to him too. But disappointing day for Lyon.
Subasic was about 4 yards off his line though. Sneaky. A lot of goalkeepers do that.
You can get away with it.
Never really called up for it.
No, 100%.
Coming off the line.
It is annoying.
So Memphis Depay might have been a little bit aggrieved at that. And what I liked about the Ronnie Lopez's goal was just pure graft leading up to that. Like a bit of an unconvincing finish, or unconventional finish maybe. Slips it past the goalkeeper. What was it? His left foot into the left-hand side, but just hounding players down before it went in, and that's exactly what Monaco need in order to stay up, isn't it? Their star players really putting themselves about. Yeah, but you're right. For Lyon, Bruno Genesio won't be a happy bunny, will he? Especially as they'd only lost once in their previous 9 prior to this, so putting in some decent form. Still third, but Marseille and Saint-Etienne hounding them down in the top echelon of French football, and Lyon deservedly beaten in this game. Their expected goals was a paltry 0.4 plus the penalty, of course, despite carving out 7 shots inside the box. So there was still some last-ditch defending from Monaco in this game. Don't get me wrong. Glick, who obviously conceded the penalty that we spoke about, also put in a heroic tackle later on in the game. But they only managed 3 on target from that. So kind of half chances from decent zones, and Moussa Dembele's game really indicative of this. He put 0 shots on target. He's got 0 goals in his last 4 starts, although I think he does have a goal in the Europa League maybe. Playing 90 minutes in all but one of those fixtures, 79 minutes in the other game. So he's been clocking up the minutes, has he? The ex-Celtic forward, but not doing the business of late. Lyon now trailing second place Lille by 5 points, so a bit of breathing space for them. As for Jardim, he's now only 1 win away from matching Thierry Henry's record in 15 fewer games. Almost like they should never have parted with him. Monaco, they look like they might have escaped relegation. That would have been absolutely harrowing if they'd gone down given the talent at their disposal. How far can they climb up Liga. Now that's what I want to know. Maybe 10th. What a debate that'll be in the comments. I bet there'll be booting on in the comments. Let's move on.
So our final loser is Inter Milan, and this comes in from Ander_S_B_. Thank you very much, Ander.
Yeah, let's break it down. Inter drop points away at Fiorentina despite initially managing to overturn, I think, one of the quickest Serie A goals this season. It was pretty much 17 seconds before they took the lead, courtesy of a De Vrij own goal. I think Giovanni Simeone backheeling it into him, eventually finding its way into the net. Now, Muriel scored Fiorentina's second with what can only be described as an absolute ping panther, banging in a free kick from 35 yards out.
Goal.
Unbelievable technique, sort of hit it very straight like you see a lot of players do now, like David Luiz, and it's sort of curled. Marcus Rashford as well, he's actually adopted that technique, hasn't he? And it's gradually curled away from the goalkeeper and nestled into the top bins. He now has 4 in 6 of Fiorentina since joining on loan from Sevilla in January. A very healthy goal return from him.
Indeed.
Well done. However, the headlines were stolen from, Luis Muriel's grasp by VAR. Ominous presence in Italian football and not handled with the most precision in this game, let's say. A number of high-profile mistakes, but at the very end, at the dying embers of the game, which the referee had already added 7 minutes to, D'Ambrosio appeared to have handled it in the area for Inter Milan, giving Fiorentina the chance to snatch a point. And VAR went through the process of displaying it to the referee. You've got Nyangran on the sideline saying, look, it hit his chest, it hit his chest. But the referees decided that maybe some of the movement was unnatural,
it certainly wasn't
or
clear
on
and obvious.
purpose. But it definitely hit him in the chest and then appeared to maybe brush his arm. Yeah, I wouldn't say there was enough there to give a concrete penalty. But Spalletti's men having the points, taken from under their feet. The dimes of the game, like I said, Jordan Vertu, who's having a very good season, putting up some very good numbers, of course, of ex-Aston Villa fame, stealing his side a point on the 100-minute mark, and that is, subsequently the latest goal in Serie A since Opta Records began post 100 minutes. Inter will be absolutely bloody fuming, won't they, do?
Yeah, Spalletti will be pulling away. If he had hair, he'd be pulling it out. They've now dropped.
That was face.
Yeah, they've now dropped 10 points behind Napoli in third, but do still have a game in hand. They are, solid defensively. We've always said this. They've got the second best defence in Serie A, and they'll cut themselves slightly unlucky because Fiorentina scored from both of their only 2 shots on target that they managed. They've now conceded 17 goals, which is 2 more than the best in Italy, Juventus's. They were also without their injured top goal scorer Mauro Icardi, who's got 9 goals and 2 assists in 20 games, who, despite Inter scoring 3, was sorely missed. He averages 2.7 shots per game for the Nerazzurri, and without him, they didn't really have much firepower up front. Arturo Martinez wasn't very involved in general play, really, and defensive midfielder Matthias Vecino was actually the busiest. He had 2 shots, which was the most of any Inter player, and worryingly, according to Corriere dello Sport, Icardi has 0 interest, that's a quote, 0 interest to play for Inter Milan again. And the likes of Lukaku, Dzeko, Zapata and Timo Werner are being lined up as possible replacements. Whether they've got the finances to land someone like Timo Werner remains to be seen. And Lukaku certainly wouldn't come cheap either. We're discussing this on Sunday Vibes. But of that list, Chris, who would you be most keen to bring in?
What, as Beppe Marotta,
yeah,
sporting director now at Inter Milan? I think Romelu Lukaku, if you can get him out of Manchester United, he's a bit of a wounded animal at the moment, but no doubt still a class player. Maybe adds a bit more mobility across that front line. I think the wide players in Candreva and Perisic, Politano would probably appreciate his endeavour up front a little bit more than maybe Mauro Icardi, just being that penalty box poacher. We're not talking about Politano and
scored a great goal.
And Vecino's goal was in this game. Yeah, I mean, he was doing that to the crowd, which Perisic seems to take great umbrage with. Maybe he's got a little bit of flack from the Inter Ultra since arriving from Sassuolo. But Vecino's goal, of course, used to play for Fiorentina, didn't celebrate it. That was really, really well taken. Such a deft finish, keeper getting fingertips to it. But fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I like Lautaro Martinez. I think there's more to come from him after arriving in Argentina. But Lukaku would be, I I think Duvan Zapata is maybe going to plateau. I think this is quite possibly,
running a little bit hot, maybe. Mind you, he has scored goals wherever he's been, so he'd be a potential option as well.
Like a decent return. He's been decent rotation at top clubs, hasn't he? I'm not quite sure at what 27, 28 that he's who you want to bring in after letting your marquee player go.
Yeah,
Timo Werner would be insane if they can get him for 50 and sell Mauro Cardiff for closer to 100.
He's got Bayern or something.
Yeah.
In mind.
I mean, if Bayern let that happen, then
Crazy.
The Bavarian fans will be absolutely livid, won't they? Timo Werner to Bayern then, and Lukaku possibly to Inter Milan. What do you think of that transfer merry-go-round, guys? Let us know in the comments below. Moving on to our star of the week before we end the bloody show.
Right, our star of the week comes from the Premier League, and it's Gerard Deulofeu, who scored Watford's first top-flight hat-trick since 1986 as they cruised to a 5-1 victory at Cardiff. He even assisted Deeney for the fourth before Deeney again swept home from a Will Hughes cross, to make it 5.
Did you almost say Will Grigg?
I almost said Will Grigg. Deulofeu now has had a hand in 7 goals in his past 3 Premier League appearances against Cardiff. 5 goals and 2 assists. Loves it against the Bluebirds. And the Spaniard and Watford as a whole were incredibly clinical. They had a conversion rate of 41%, scoring their 5 goals from just 12 shots. Cardiff actually had 15 shots, but could only muster 1 goal, which is a 6% conversion rate for those who like your maths. Good news for Watford, good news for Deulofeu.
Yeah, and good news for Connor Chandler 13 that we're using his suggestion.
Yes.
Watford now on 40 points, so that's Premier League safety in the bag, although I imagine their expectations would have changed, midway through that purple patch. Probably looking to push for European football now in the 7th place spot at the moment.
Watch out Chelsea.
And I mean, their form doesn't really look like faltering at current, does it? So we've got a bit of a niche stat down here that might help you out in a pub quiz at some point, one day. You might remember the end of this ERU episode. Deulofeu becoming only the 3rd player to score a Premier League hat-trick on a Friday. The others being Dean Windass and Thierry Henry.
That is niche
And
knowledge.
Can we end on a better note than Dean Windass on Euro Roundup? Probably not. So let's call it a day there. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If you've not checked out Winners and Losers on Football Daily, please go and do so. And what else is happening across Euro Football Daily, Duke?
Well, Stat Wars The Champions is off and running. Not only me versus Bobby Seagull, but Joe took on the mighty Mark Goldbridge as well. Go check out last week's Continental Club, where we previewed Borussia Dortmund Bayer Leverkusen and talked about loads of other good stuff. There's loads of great content across all our 3 channels, so make sure you like and subscribe to all of them. And we'll see you next time. See ya.